Welcome to the Northbrook Sports Center for today's AHL matchup between the Glenbrook North Spartans and the Loyola Academy Ramblers. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Northbrook. My name's Aaron Schellen, my broadcast partner, Mike Napolitano. And this is game 2 of a best of 3. Very simple for GBN. Win and move on, lose, and there is a game 3. The Spartans took game 1 by a score of 4-1.
Yeah.
That was a game that was tied at 1 going into the 4th. Goals by Noah Sychek, David Bennick, and Brendan Fisher would lead the Spartans to that 4-1 victory as they look for the sweep over the number 2 seed here today.
It'd be a huge sweep and would carry them, of course, into the finals. In some cases, the semifinals are a little bit more nerve-wracking than the finals. The pressure is on to get your team to that championship, but you just got to take it one game at a time, and that's probably the mindset going into this one to try to close out a sweep here. Like you mentioned, a number 2 seed Loyola Ramblers team. So that would be quite the win. We've seen this GBN squad a few times already this season and throughout the playoffs, and we already know that they have some talent on this squad, and that was even brought up in the article written about Jaden DeLeon. He said he was, quote, very disappointed after the Northbrook tryouts, but he took that and ran with it. He said, quote, it was a tough pill to swallow, but I knew I could try to be a leader on this team. I knew I had great coaches and teammates with me. He went on to almost lead his team, lead his team in points during the regular season and goals, 41 points, 27 goals. He's even on the stat sheet here in the playoffs. But who leads this Glenbrook North Spartans team in points and goals in the playoffs, leads the entire AHL, is Brendan Fisher with 3 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah, the defenseman, Brendan Fisher. He's an activated defenseman, very active offensively. He will get into the offensive flow, and so far so good here in the postseason as the 3rd seed Spartans look to advance to the AHL championship against York White. And the way the teams got here, Loyola with a 3-game series win over Glenbrook South. They won that in 3, while GBN took down Lake Forest Blue Team in straight sets, I guess, 2-0 and a sweep.
Looking to do that here again tonight.
Yep. And it looks like it'll be Victor Kulikov getting the start in net, and Victor's been good here in the postseason. A goals against of exactly 2 in 3 games here in the postseason. During the regular season for Victor, goals against just north of 2 at 2.1, save percentage of over 900. And we'll see who the starting goalie is here for...
That's number 31,
That's Benjamin Srichanda. Sorry, I get that out quickly.
Srichanda, yeah.
He was 8-5 on the season with a 2.06 goals against and a 921 save percentage. So good goalie matchup here today. And talk about goal scoring. You talked about Jaden DeLeon, 27 goals in 26 games. Thomas Merritt leading the way for Loyola with 15 goals. I love his stat line. 15 goals, just 3 assists on the year. He's out there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to put the puck towards the net.
All Finnish, and maybe some Swedish in there as well. But we might be in for a goaltending matchup, considering you mentioned that first game between these two teams was tied 1-1 going into the 3rd. Maybe just a little mishap by the Loyola Ramblers in that 3rd period. But both goaltenders, you look at those numbers, and we could be in for a goaltending duel today.
Well, hot goaltending usually wins you a lot of games, right? So we'll see what happens. And this is, I think, probably the 3rd or 4th time we've seen Victor Kulikov, well, that I've seen Victor this season, and he's always impressed. So we are ready to go. And we're on Rink A here for the first time at the Northbrook Sports Center, usually on Rink B, so it's a bit of a different setup. Mike and I are both standing on chairs right now.
Yeah, we have the benches right in front of us, and I'm sure they're going to be up and excited for some playoff hockey.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a tighter fit here, right? Stands right up against the glass. No real room between benches. This is back to the point. Ciota's shot is deflected over by the far wall. Brady Andrews tries to backhand it down and can't. That's into the feet of Christian Magnuson, cleared back in, taken here by Ciota. Just underway, 30 seconds gone by in period one. That's up the wall. Magnuson sweeps it in, and apparently he did not have the red line, so we will have an icing here with 43 seconds gone by in period one.
Good pace throughout the first couple of seconds in this first period here. Both teams coming out of the gates hot, and we see rushes on both ends. A couple of dumped in pucks, but the speed is there. We'll see if that keeps up throughout this first period and throughout the entire game.
Draw to the right of Victor. This will be Gregory Nelson taking the draw. It's thrown around far side. Now out with it comes Brendan Fisher. Fisher up the wall, and that comes all the way down. And they'll come out to the neutral zone. Backhanded around. GBN has the puck. De Leon. Fancy stick handling by Jaden De Leon. Gives it up, though. And he'll start up the far wall. This will be Max Copeland. Chips it to center. And every player out there for Loyola has the name Amog on the back of their jersey, so
I was noticing that.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, he's been out there for a long time.
I have a feeling they're honoring a teammate, so just bear with me while I get myself organized here and figure out who is who for the Loyola Ramblers.
Is that AMDG?
Is it a DG or an OG?
I think it's a D.
AMDG, okay.
I'm not sure what it stands for, though.
No, me either. But we'll figure it out. I thought I had the wrong roster, so I was panicking for a minute. And then I realized that every single player out there had the same thing on their jersey. So that's tipped down for an icing.
Yeah, that's a D.
Okay. We don't have chat on, so we don't know exactly what it means, but we'll effort. We got a lot of Loyola fans here, so when we get a stoppage in play in between periods, I'll run over there and I'll ask them what it stands for, and then we'll be good to go. But this is Danny O'Donovan taking the face-off for the Ramblers, and Ethan Fromm for the Spartans.
Loyola Academy Ramblers, the only...
Oh, the deflection through the 5-hole, and the Ramblers take a 1-0 lead. I think that was George Hoffman tipping the shot from the point, and Loyola jumps out early.
That may have gone off the defenseman as well. Not sure if that was Andrews in front or Fromm.
Nope, I watched the replay as the stream is a little bit behind. That was off the right skate of Brady Andrews and just went 5-hole. And you see Brady down there talking to Victor now. And, yeah, that clearly went off the right skate of number 84 in gold. So an unfortunate break for the Spartans here early, but still obviously plenty of time, down just 1-0 here in the first. 14:44 left to go. It's cleared in by Jing, now behind the net. Quinn Reynolds along the wall, kept in by the Spartans. That's kicked away by Srichandra. Now opposite corner, puck hops up in the air. Good keep at that far point by Jing. Not able to keep this time. That's cleared out. We'll have a race for the puck. O'Donovan will go after it with Andrews. Brady is the first one on it. He'll throw it around near side. Christian Magnuson unable to get it out on the first attempt, but the second attempt he does. He's out there with Matthew Sack. That's swept in by Loyola, stopped by Kulikov. Going down in the corner, and Luke Messina picks it up for Loyola. Gets hit by Jing. Back to the point, and that'll come out to center ice. Andrew Nelson not able to keep. That's thrown in and out of the glove of Kulikov. It's deflected off the stick of Elijah Chow. Come back out to center through Brady Andrews all the way down, and that'll be an icing on the Ramblers with 13:31 left to go in period one. Shots 2-0 so far in favor of Loyola. And Mike, it took us about 3 minutes to get into our rhythm. The back of the jersey really threw me.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that in warm-ups. Of course, we were down here looking at the GBN side of things, but GBN has had 2 decent rushes in the offensive zone. And I say decent. That icing call right there gives them an opportunity to get it set up here, and they desperately need some offensive zone time because everything has been on our end of the ice.
And icing's waved off here. Jack Reynolds goes back and gets it. As they're saying, GBN tipped it at the blue line. It's cleared up past Teddy Dwyer. Dwyer gives it away at the near point, cleared in by the Spartans, and it was Carter Dunn off his stick, but now back to play it is Brendan Fisher. First time we've called his name. Mike, as you mentioned, leading the AHL in points here in the postseason, 3 goals, 2 assists in those 5. And I was looking through the stat sheet, and the thing that stood out to me the most is that this guy right here, number 19, Jaden DeLeon, has 27 goals in 26 games. You know what he leads the AHL in the postseason?
Penalty minutes.
Penalty minutes.
Yes.
Absolutely. He has 18 penalty minutes in 3 games. So the noted pugilist, Jaden DeLeon, leading the AHL in penalty minutes here in this postseason. You got to think he's going to get going at some point, right? Just 1 point in 3 games here in the playoffs. You don't keep a guy like that down forever. So today would be as good a day as ever for him to get started, but he takes a huge hit there. Carter Dunn on the puck for the Spartans, spins around behind the net. Dunn now on the forehand, opposite corner, back to the point. Brady Andrews walks in the shot, the left pad save made by Shuchandra. Best shift of the game, and not a surprise, it comes from the line of DeLeon, Dunn. It's cleared over to the far side, Elijah Chow. Up the far wing, and cleared in by GBN. So just like us, it took the Spartans a couple of minutes to get into the swing of things here this evening in their hockey game. Down 1-0. This is Lucas Koenig. He clears it in, taken over by Ciota up along the near wall. And that'll come out to center ice.
Ramblers are doing a nice job of turning every single puck back towards the offensive zone. When it pops out into the neutral zone, they've either been able to dump it in cleanly. This time, of course, an icing call. So this faceoff will come back into their zone. But GBN, Aaron was talking about the rush that they just had was probably the best opportunity for them throughout the game. But you go back to the very start of this game, and we talked about those 2 members, Brendan Fisher and Jaden DeLeon. They had a connection on the first rush for GBN. And we talk about Brendan Fisher's offensive stats as a defenseman here in the postseason. He's also had some great defensive work here. Nice move to get out of his own zone. So playing a 200-foot game is definitely going to help, but they just need the other end of that 200-foot game in the offensive zone.
Mike, I got confirmation. I efforted.
Oh, yes.
I efforted. So it is the Loyola slogan. It means for the greater good of God in Latin.
Ah, okay. So I didn't brush up on my Latin.
No, me either. And since this is the first Loyola game we've done this season, I had no idea.
I didn't realize that they did that on their jerseys.
I tell my kids that you have to learn something new every day.
My dad took Latin in high school, and then I took Spanish because everybody told me that it was a lot more widely used, and that is, in fact, the case.
Well, that's
and that
true.
Latin's becoming a dead language.
Sure.
But as an Italian, there's a lot of things in Latin.
Yeah.
In Italy, and I took a trip in 2019. I didn't understand any of it.
Well, fair enough.
The Italian part I did. It's close to Spanish,
well,
and I know some phrases.
Well, I want to thank the Loyola fan base down in front of us who cleared that up for me. Maybe this is our first year doing high school hockey. Next year, this is something that we just know, right?
Right. Yeah.
So still 1-0. Loyola with the lead.
That turns things into, the cliche that the name on the front of the jersey is more important than the name on the back. Well, if the name on the back is uniform on every single one of these jerseys, then maybe it's just as important.
Giveaway there, chipped out in front off the side of the net, off the stick of Matthew Sack. Back to the point, side check. Now Fisher takes the shot. That was ticketed top corner. Good blocker save by Sruchandra.
That's the best look the Spartans have had in this game. This puck comes off the half wall, and Fisher's in a really good spot right at the top of the circle right there and has the entire goaltender to himself. And a really nice tracking save from the netminder off the blocker and up into the rafters.
Yeah, and Brendan Fisher, I mean, what he's doing here in the playoffs is no different than what he did during the regular season and averaged a point a game in the 25-26 regular season. 8 goals, 18 assists, 26 points in 26 games. So he's not just a defensive defenseman. He is going to get in there offensively as well, as that's thrown in on Kulikov, and Loyola has to change up. Reynolds behind his own net. Backs it around to side check. Noah tries the long indirect pass from Magnuson. Christian almost gets there. That puck is loose. Oh,
quick whistle
quick
right
whistle.
there.
Fortunate whistle for Loyola as that bounces out of the glove of Shichandra with Magnuson lurking.
Not sure if there were any other Spartans in the zone for them to pick that puck up as Magnuson was tied up, but puck was in play, and that could change things here, but they'll take a face-off in the offensive zone. You talked about Fisher's defensive side of the game, but also being a point-per-game player. You're talking almost like Cale Makar comparisons because you're getting that offensive production from him, but he's also very responsible and reliable on defense, and that's just a huge element to add to your team.
No pressure, though, Brendan.
No pressure, that's for sure.
No
take the compliment, don't take the pressure.
Yes. De Leon back to the point. Reynolds gets it back to Jaden near half wall, gets hit there, double teamed. Kept in at the point, now out to center. Carter Dunn will take it. Dunn back into his own zone. It's out there with Copeland and De Leon. This is the top line for this Spartans team. Copeland, 29 points in 22 games, 13 goals, 16 assists. What do we got?
I believe that hit somebody on the bench. So
yeah, we can't see that from where we're standing. It's weird. I don't think we've called the game yet at any level this year, but we've had the players right in front of us like this.
Right, yeah. And that was Andrews was trying to just bank that puck off the board and sidestep the defenseman, and I think it may have just clipped to one of his own players along this near bench.
Luke Shotsky against De Leon. Jaden wins it clean. That's cleared back in by the Ramblers with 8:43 left in the period. Hit from behind was Ciota. De Leon off the wall. Almost played it with his hand, but has to come back around the near wall. He'll pick it up. He'll bump into Shotsky and Copeland. A little bit behind Dunn into Dunn's skates. Andrews runs into Shotsky as well, right in front of us. Now De Leon back into his own zone. Copeland flips it up to De Leon. Jaden into the attacking zone as Dunn on his right. Cuts through, throws it into the corner. This line's been out there for a while. Pass out 2-on-2. Shotsky to his right, gets bumped by Brady Andrews. Good defensive work there by Brady to just ride Shotsky off the puck. Back at the near point, Alkema, he loses the puck to Copeland. They play catch in the neutral zone, and it's cleared back in.
Alkema, the right-handed defenseman there, and it's tough being along the boards on that side as that puck's rung around because your stick isn't what's along the boards there, it's your skates, so it's harder to keep that puck in.
Magnuson throws it towards the goal, gets knocked down for his troubles now. Cleared in by Brady Andrews, back to play at Peter Winslow. He goes up the far wall. Long and direct pass almost hits Alex Botcher. Deflects away from him. Botcher throws it out in front. Here's a shot from the point, whistles wide of the near point, or near post rather, by Quinn Reynolds. Opposite points. That one also doesn't make it in on Kulikov. Good defensive work there by the Spartans to get in the way of their goaltender.
It seems like GBN just has a couple of issues with communication and where guys are going to be here tonight. I don't know if it's playoff jitters. A couple of passes were intended into a specific zone, and either the wingers or the teammates were just leaving that zone as the pass is being made.
Yeah, just one pass shy. All we've had so far has been a deflected puck. Here's Fisher. Has it chipped away from him. Ari Drivas goes over to get it. He can't. Reynolds, as they catch Loyola in a bit of a shift and a change here. Drivas takes the shot, and Shichandra makes the save. Is fortunate. If that was the second period, that's a dangerous change right there. But because it's still the period of the short change, Loyola was able to recover.
We'll get a face-off to the stick side where that shot came from. hopefully get some offensive zone time for GBN here.
Fromm wins it cleanly. Reynolds up the wall behind the net. That comes out the near side. Schoonyoung, Brendan Schoonyoung, works the puck out to center, and now Andrew Nelson plays it wide. Back to the point, the one-timer hitting Drivas out in front, and that'll come back to center ice. Nelson right back in, and the scoreboard went off. Now it's back up. Fisher gets hit behind the net, separated from the puck. Squirts out the near side. Reynolds with a hit in the corner on Sierran Cone. It's off the glass and kept in at the far point. Down to 5.5 left in the first. And Brendan whiffs on that pass, that clearing attempt up the wall. Instead goes and plays the body. Ethan Fromm battling with Lucas Koenig. You got 2 to a side back there. Fisher over there with Cohen. It's won by Loyola, thrown through the paint. David Bennick up the wall. Bennick had one of the 3 third-period goals in game 1. That's up and out, and it's going to be an icing on GBN with 5:02 left. And yeah,
there's more of that miscommunication right there from Fromm and Drivas. Not sure who was going to go to the wall to get that puck, and instead they are forced to ice it as the pressure was coming on the board battle.
It's still a little choppy here in the first period from an offensive perspective for GBN. I'm pretty happy with the way they're playing defensively. I mean, a puck bounces off a skate and goes 5-hole on your goalie. Not a whole lot you can do about that. So otherwise, I mean, I think you're pretty happy. You've only given up 3 shots on Viktor Kulikov in the first 12 minutes of this game. I think if you can maintain that level of defensive stability here the rest of the way, you put yourselves in pretty good shape, because you have to think that top line that's out there right now, De Leon, Dunn, and Copeland, are going to figure it out here at some point before this game ends. So it's iced again by the Spartans.
And Loyola has really pushed the pace physically in this game, and I think, going off of the defense that you were talking about, the Spartans have answered physically right back. So they've done a nice job playing the body in their own zone and getting pucks worked along the wall. They just haven't always gotten it out cleanly, as we see another icing call here. You got to get this top line into the offensive zone to see what they can do. And
with some momentum, right?
Yeah.
Like skating forward with some speed. There's a good stick there by Carter Dunn. He'll get it up to Copeland. That pass just too far out in front of Max. Now Dunn. He'll dump as the Spartans will go chase. Copeland will go over to the corner with Quinn Reynolds. And that's chipped out towards the the far face-off dot, rather. De Leon will stick handle. Back to the point, Andrews. Brady, easy save made by Srichandra. Now behind the net, Dunn. Dunn tries to go back opposite corner, but Andrews wasn't there for it. Heads up, that's coming right our way.
I was on it, Aaron. Don't worry.
I've told you, Mike, that gear first, personal safety second. So if that was about, 5 feet to our right, you would have had to have thrown yourself in front of the gear.
Street hockey, I was always thrown in net because I could catch as a baseball player. But once I got older, skating-wise, I was not going in net. So I'll bring my baseball mitt rather than any kind of goalie mitt that might still be hanging out in the garage.
And then it was thrown back in by a fan, and it almost hit Brendan Fisher in the head. I saw him look back at the crowd.
Not the guy you want to take out in this game.
I think he probably assumed it was a Loyola fan throwing that back onto the ice, but it wasn't. It's the green and gold to GBN.
Almost a little friendly fire.
That's
there.
Right. Back out to center. 3:40 left in the period. That's into the feet of Elijah Chow and back into the Loyola defensive side of things. Cross ice, Dwyer gains the red line, dumps opposite. No, he did not gain the red line. I thought he was in ahead, but he wasn't. So that'll be an icing on Loyola and an offensive zone draw for the Spartans.
They have been just shy on that far side. And, what's weird, we've seen this before, Aaron, of course, at this level throughout high school hockey and even below her, is even if you are the first guy in to get that puck, if the defenseman is there with you, they're going to call that icing. So Otherwise, Loyola may have gotten to that puck first. So you want to see that defense for GBN track back on that, maybe a little bit quicker.
Reynolds through a screen, deflects into the near corner. And that is up and out. No icing. Copeland will sling it around. Shotsky is there for the Ramblers, though. Dunn chipping it to Fisher. Fisher chops it up the wall, can't get it out. Hit from behind is Owen Papp. Fisher gives it away at the red line with under 3 minutes. Cleared back in, Dunn. Back around to Reynolds. Reynolds right back to Carter, but too hard to handle. Giveaway here, Messina shuffles it wide of the near post. Shotsky out in front, but good layers by GBN. Now De Leon with some speed. Here comes Jaden across center ice. Now De Leon tries to cut back inside. That's good defense by Aiden Reeder. At the point, Reynolds. Pass a little bit in front of Dunn. De Leon whizzes it through the paint. Reynolds back behind the net. Come all the way around to the near half wall. De Leon has his pocket picked at the blue line. Good defensive work there by Fisher, but now into the attacking zone. Botcher the shot, and that's probably the toughest save that Victor Kulikov has had to make so far today, but he came out to the top of that paint, made himself big, made it look easy.
I want to go back to that Jaden De Leon entry. He had a teammate to his far side, but realized the back checker was coming all the way back to cut off the passing lanes. Tries to sidestep the defenseman that's on him with a little bit of a drag move. Just can't get through, but would like to see a couple more rushes with numbers for GBN if they want to get something manufactured speed-wise, as we were talking earlier.
The thing that I noticed, here's a steal by Botcher. I'll give you my thought here in a second. The thing I noticed about that rush by De Leon is that you almost always see that skater cut to the outside on that play. He took that little jab step to the inside and then you cut outside. De Leon continued on that inward, kind of cutting back towards the middle of the ice, maybe to try to catch the Loyola defense off guard there, but that was good work by the Ramblers. Magnuson feathers it up ahead to Sychak. Noah with a ton of speed up the near wall. Too much speed, loses an edge in the corner. Noah leading the AHL in goal scoring here in the postseason. 3 goals in 3 games. Sychak had 12 goals in 25 regular season games and blessed with an abundance of speed, wearing the C, number 13 in gold. Minute 16 left in the first period. Loyola still leads 1-0.
Sychak takes that route to the outside that you were talking about most skaters taking. Hockey's similar to baseball, you know, in a sense where you take those early at-bats in the game to kind of figure out a pitcher, see what he's throwing, hopefully get to him before the relievers come in, and it's a whole different ball game. But same thing with hockey. You know, you see your teammate Jaden De Leon try to take that inside route. Okay, that doesn't work, so you're going to try to take that outside route and see if you can get set up in the zone, maybe button hook along the half wall and get set up offensively.
Andrews taps it to himself. He'll fire the wrist shot from the top of the near circle, and it's an easy save by Shuchandra, but it does lead to an offensive zone draw for GBN.
It's kind of what we talk about when we're saying teams are feeling each other out in the beginning. We've had a lot of that. One fluke goal, but other than that, both teams are still kind of figuring their offensive games out and even on their defensive side of things.
Yeah, it's been a pretty evenly matched game so far. No real great chances for either team. Even with that goal for Loyola, it's just a shot from the point that hits a skate. Fisher tries to shovel it through, but Andrew Nelson cuts it off, and that's not going to have the legs, so Andrews will play it to Fisher. Fisher looking for Bennick too hard, and that's going to be, icing's waved off. Bennick runs into Andrew Nelson behind the net. Ari Drivas, far side. Bennick down low. Bennick back to the point. Fisher, good sliding check there by Cohen. Fisher was about to unload a wrist shot from in between the circles. That would have been a dangerous chance for GBN. That one sticks in the corner, and
Kulikov didn't know whether to come out and play that. It took a funny hop off the corner boards and didn't quite get to him.
GBN kicks it up the wall. Getting hit in the corner is Fisher. Down to 5 seconds left. That shot into the butterfly of Kulikov in the first period will end with the Ramblers up 1-0 on a fluke goal off the right stick of Brady Andrews. We'll be back with second period action here in just a minute. Back here for period number 2 at Northbrook Sports Center. We're on Rink A. We've never been on Rink A before. It's cozy, I guess you could say. It's cozy. The fans are right in front of us. I had to turn my crowd mic off because it was bumping this poor man in the back.
Yeah, it was nice of us to give them the heads up.
Yeah.
But, we don't need to anymore because we're not using it. But
shots are 6-5 in favor of GBN, but Loyola's up 1-0 on a goal in the first minutes of the period as Loyola has 8 skaters out on the ice right now, plus a goalie.
Yeah,
that's too many.
We have one of the Stripes yelling at the Ramblers right now, and I'm not sure why.
Because they had 8 skaters on the ice, maybe?
I don't know. It seems like something different, but yeah, 8 would definitely elicit a
too many men penalty.
Yeah,
at least one. If you have 8 players on the ice, do you get called for 3 too many men on the ice penalties, or is it just all 1?
Well, Slovakia didn't get called for anything when they were playing Canada. So
well, I mean, I think if you have 2 guys jump on the ice at the same time, and you have 7 players on the ice, is that 1 too many men on the ice penalty, or is it 2?
I would say it's per the rules, it's 1, but you think about it, and honestly, it should be 2 based on the math, right?
Right.
But I think only 1 gets called.
But it's 2 penalties. It's 2 infractions.
Yeah. I'd have to see a line change that goes that wrong to determine.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, we got the backside linesman and referee talking about something right at the blue line.
Yeah, there's still some kind
now
of an
3
issue
of them.
going
Now
on.
all 4 of them are discussing. Now they're gonna whatever they discussed. They've decided what they're going to do because we're ready to play hockey.
Sack in for the draw and side check in a shooting lane.
Yep, sack, side check, Magnuson are your trio out there with Reynolds and Fisher. It's back to Reynolds at the near point. We'll throw it up the wall. Sack, he was the hero in the playoff game against Brother Rice with the overtime goal, 17 seconds into that overtime, as the 22 seed took down the 11 in the varsity red playoff tournament. It's going to be decided on the 6th.
Yeah, this Friday.
St. Viator and New Trier are a couple of SHL combatants going at it. New Trier looking for 3 straight state championships. St. Viator, best team in the state this year.
I'll be there to cover it on behalf of WRMN. We won't get a chance to broadcast from Shell and Sports Media.
I was hoping we'd get a chance to, but I understand. I get it.
They may have the Wolves broadcasting team doing that one. I'm not even sure. It's either the SHL network or I saw Marquee is also doing a couple of broadcasts for
at any rate, I've had a lot of fun calling GBN hockey this year and getting to know the families and the parents of some of the players, and I talk to Harmon Lyons about, I don't know, 5 times a week at this point while we're trying to prepare for these playoff games that come up last minute. And
got him on speed dial.
I literally do, and he's been terrific in making sure that we have everything we need here at the Northbrook Sports Center. So it's been a great relationship so far, and looking forward to next year when we can get a full season in. Right, we didn't get started with GBN until what, January? December, January, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. We had seen them a couple of times when we were covering Lake Forest, but yeah.
De Leon takes the shot that goes up over the crossbar. His first real great chance. Got underneath it a little bit. And Reynolds will go back and get this. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a full season in. Looking forward to next year. It's over by the near corner where Fisher up to Dunn to De Leon. Jaden gains the blue line, cross ice to Dunn. The shot wide of the far post. Quick wrist shot by Dunn there. Nice little snapshot.
Dunn had Copeland on the back door. I mean, he still had a shooting lane. I don't mind the shot right there, but it was almost a 3-on-2 into the zone. Maybe you look to that back door on the next opportunity.
Fisher avoids the hit and dumps, and he takes a look back at the number. That was Andrew Nelson, by the way.
Yeah, catch a
Brendan,
license
number
plate.
46. That's deflected up into the...
That's the air duct.
The air duct. That's off the blocker of Sri Chandra.
Interesting to see the different variations that the Spartans have when they line up for the face-off. We had Sidecheck in that shooting lane on the first one, but he ended up just being a pick for that puck to come back to the, and here he is again in that shooting lane for Ciota to have it at the point. But then that last draw, it was just a normal setup from GBN.
Ciota with a difficult pinch. He's able to pinch initially, but then loses the puck, and now will break the other way. Skating it wide is Shotsky. He'll rip it wide. Sack up the wall. He'll go down over the top of the puck with Andrew Nelson. Fisher finds Sidecheck. Noah has Magnuson 2-on-1. Magnuson and all alone. Magnuson scores, and we're tied at 1.
What a beautiful pass from the Spartans right there to hit Magnuson on the breakaway. Sneaks behind the defense and is able to have the patience to go forehand, backhand, keep the goalie down and tuck it in that back door cleanly.
Yeah, pretty pass and a pretty finish by the Spartans there. And we got a brand new hockey game.
Wonderful attempt there from both the initial pass. Oh, that's what we're talking about here is the wingers creeping in on these draws. So
yeah, don't do that.
I guess that's what's been frustrating the officials throughout this evening, and very emphatic about that.
Well,
we're back underway now.
Brand new hockey game, 1-1. Spartans out shooting Loyola 7-5.
And that's interesting, too, because we haven't seen in that first period too much offensive zone time for the Spartans. It looked like Loyola got the better of things. But then when also you look at the goals, that was a legitimate goal right there. And the one we saw from Loyola was just maybe a little bit of a fluke. So if that continues throughout the game, could be seeing GBN taking more control of the offensive zones.
Christian, 5 goals during the regular season. That's his first of the postseason. But he's now up to 4 points in 4 playoff games this year as he takes the pretty feed from Sidecheck. And that's not what Noah's known for. He's a goal scorer, 12 goals, just 3 assists during the regular season. He has 2 assists in 4 games here in the postseason. So he's altering his game a little here in the postseason. And that pass was absolutely the right play as Magnuson was in behind the defense.
Well, he was talking to his coach right there, Magnuson giving him a pat on the head, but the man who wears the C, Sidecheck, going to school even when he gets to the boards and back to the bench, despite having a really nice play right there. He's always learning, and you talk about the playoffs are a different beast, so sometimes you do have to adjust your game a little bit just to get those wins.
Botcher in the near corner, back to the near half wall. Gregory Nelson back to Botcher. Botcher bumped by Reynolds. Comes back to the point, and that'll come all the way to the neutral zone. Peter Winslow up the wall, and back into the Loyola defensive side of things. Much better start to this period for GBN than what we saw in that first, Mike. Obviously, the goal helped, but even without the goal, pressure-wise, that should be, I don't know, I was going to say it should be an icing. That tip was behind the red line.
That was Alex Botcher, and he's got his palms up because his whole goal on that play is to tip the puck right at the red line so it can be a dump and chase without the icing, and they ruled he was just before the line there as he touches that one, so it's still an icing despite his efforts.
Draw will come to the right of Sri Chandra. It'll be Copeland, De Leon, Dunn, Jing, and Andrews.
Normal setup for GBN.
And you got the line, you got the wingers creeping in again.
Yeah, these officials are already pretty annoyed by that. You see that at all levels, a little bit of cheating on the draw.
Oh, at all levels.
Yeah. I mean, it's normal to an extent, but if the referees are that emphatic about it this early on in the matchup.
Almost a giveaway there, Copeland.
That's not a good sign.
Dunn keeps it in at the near point. He gets hit from behind the front, and then he gets hit from behind. De Leon near circle, in between the dots. De Leon shoots it high and wide. That's tapped out in front by Carter Dunn. Dunn just tried to throw it off the leg of Sri Chandra. That was a nice play by Dunn. De Leon tries the one-touch pass for Copeland. That doesn't work. Back to Andrews. Brady into the feet of Copeland. Copeland sweeps it away from Dwyer, and he'll be the first one on it. Jing tries to go over into the corner, knocked away. That comes out to center ice. Cone and Koenig was in offsides. Cone coming in behind Koenig for an offsides with 12:20 left in the second.
He picked up his skate to try to stay onside, but it was the wrong skate. It was the skate that was outside of the zone that he picks up. So his only skate that's still on the ice is the one in the zone. And sometimes the play is just moving, the rush is moving so quickly that the brain doesn't catch up. So
the brain tells the body to do the wrong thing, right?
Right. So yeah, just a little bit of a mishap there by Loyola.
That happened to me yesterday. So I was driving, quick story while the game's going on. I was driving my daughter home from dance, and are we going to have a penalty called there? We're not. David Bennick got taken down, thought we might have something there, but nope.
And Bennick's going to take that route, and as the defender, that was O'Donovan at the point, and you're allowed to stand your ground, and Bennick has to get around you, but you also have to be aware of your surroundings to an extent.
So I was driving my daughter home from dance class yesterday, and we were sitting at a red light, and we were there for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then I just drove through the red light.
Oh, well, that's not good.
And I looked up, and I looked over at my daughter, and I said, I just drove through a red light. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. My brain wasn't working. It just shut off, and
That was a stop sign.
It just went through it.
Like the back of these Loyola jerseys, you thought it was a stop sign.
Yeah, so my brain shut off on me yesterday. Fisher, Dudalev's now. Dudalev's will backhand it out in front. That's played with a high stick by David Bennick. That's some impressive hand-eye coordination in tight, though, by Bennick.
Impressive hand-eye, but even more impressive.
Fromm getting tied up, and he's going to are they both going to go, or is it just going to be one, or is it going to be nothing? Is Aiden Reeder getting tied up with Ethan Fromm, and I think no one's going to go, but if you're Ethan Fromm, you got to be really careful there, because it's almost never the first guy who gets caught in an altercation like that. It's always the retaliation.
Referees are having a lot of conversations throughout this one. A little bit abnormal, but good that there's the communication between that third team on the ice.
That has cleared the length of the ice, and that will be
just shy
of icing. I thought it was going to be icing. Side check near circle, gets bumped hard by Gregory Nelson. Thrown around Reynolds. Side check, almost takes the puck away and then gets knocked down. Here's Sack near circle. Sack rips it into the right pad of Sri Chandra. Magnuson back to the point. Fisher puts it wide. And Reynolds will clear it back to the blue line. Now far side Botcher. Botcher has it knocked away by Magnuson. Now Sack will dump it in. Back to get its Winslow. Winslow behind the nets.
Sychek came back to the bench over here. I think he's okay, maybe a little bit more disappointment than pain, but he got leveled hard. And the puck was no longer there, but it's not necessarily a late hit. He's just not looking as the defenders come in to finish his check. Open ice.
That's going to be an icing on GBN. Draw will come in to the right of Viktor Kulikov, who has not been tested much here in the second period, Mike. We haven't had to say his name, I think, at all here in period 2 so far. Shots are 9-5 in favor of GBN. Ramblers haven't put one in on Viktor yet here in this second period. Now, of course, now that I just said that, we'll see what happens. But
right.
Shots here in the second period are 3-0 in favor of the Spartans.
We have the referee and linesman coming over to talk to the Spartans bench on something. Not sure what that may have been about. Maybe that last call for the icing. But, yeah, as you mentioned, this ice is almost tilted because we saw the majority of the play on this near side in the first period. They switched sides, and now GBN's getting the better of the offensive opportunities. It's almost as if the goalposts are actual magnets, keeping the puck in one zone or the other.
That's thrown behind Kulikov. That's out in front, goes wide.
Good stick from Fisher there defensively.
Schoon-Young back to the far point, near circle, and that doesn't make it in on Viktor.
Reynolds took that one off the body and found its way into the corner.
That's thrown out in front. More good defensive work by GBN, and that's thrown out of play.
Yeah, you have that short glass on the far side here on this rink, and that just barely makes it over the glass and out of play. So tough, because you want to go off the glass and out in that situation. You don't want to go along the ice. It's going to get stopped by either the skates or the stick of the Ramblers. So you kind of just have to bank that one off that high glass, so it's harder for somebody to catch it, but you go a little too high in this rink, and that'll be out of play.
That's really good defensive work by all 5 members of the Spartans out there defensively. There were 3 or 4 shots on that shift by Loyola, and not a single one made it in on Kulikov. Just getting bodies out in front. More good work, this time the back check by Dunn. Now Copeland with some speed down the near wing. He's by himself, though. It's run behind the net and run off the puck. Now Teddy Dwyer for Loyola. Off the glass, back to the near point, now to center ice. Up ahead, O'Donovan. And there's the first touch of the period for Kulikov. An easy save. Back to the point, Nelson. That deflects wide of Viktor. Copeland is the first one on it, but it just goes back to the point. Another save by Kulikov. Another save by Kulikov. That left pad by Viktor was special right there, Mike.
Yeah, he was already down in the butterfly. That rebound pops out, and he could stay in the butterfly, but did have to push off the one skate to get over and adjust for it, and he does that well. So keeping this thing level, he gets a tap from Andrews, and Ciota, his defenseman right now, but the faceoff will be back in their zone. So
it's impressive how the goalies can do that, right? He was down in the butterfly. He made a right pad save, then pushed himself to the near post, and then made a left pad save while staying in the butterfly.
Very talented. I'm not flexible enough to do that.
I was going to say, I'd be down for 2 days if I tried that.
Yeah.
Andrews goes down behind the net. Matthew Sack will backhand it up to Magnuson, but it's kept in there. The bouncing puck directed away by Viktor, and that's pushed up. Good keep at the point, but a chance now for GBN. Sack with side check and Magnuson, and Christian just
He's palms
in ahead
up.
of the play. That was a close one.
Yeah, he couldn't believe that one either. And there's not much of an argument from the bench, so I bet you they saw the exact same thing that the officials did, but Magnuson did have an argument there. Otherwise, that was a decent rush. A couple of defensemen back, but could have been a 3-on-2 for GBN.
Back out to center, right back in, and twice now keep catching it along that far half wall was Aiden Reeder. Pushed around, but there's nobody at that far point for either side. It's kept in and now thrown the length of the ice, and we'll have another icing. GBN on their heels here a little bit, Mike. Since I said Kulikov hadn't faced any rubber here in the second period, it's been 4-0 shots for Loyola, and all the play has been down to our right.
We're talking about how the ice was tilted. It's getting
It's
tilted back
the other
in
way.
The way
it's
for
seesawed
Loyola.
to the right.
Yeah.
Draw to the right of Victor Kulikov. Gregory Nelson against Matthew Sack. Sack wins it. Elevated pass trying to hit Magnuson, but getting there first is Alkema. Reeder. Out to center ice. Sack tries to chip it to Sychek. Sack now has it, and he'll throw it into the glove of Sri Chandra, who will drop it for Gregory Nelson. Kept in far point for the moment. It's cleared all the way down, but that was deflected by Fisher, so no icing. Andrews around to Brendan. Fisher spins away from the hit. Now come around to Andrews. Brady up the far wall, 6:50 left in the period. Dropped right at the blue line by Bennick. Brady Andrews backhands it the other way. Ari Drivas racing for the puck. It's knocked away from him by Winslow up the wall, and Fisher keeps initially. Good keep there by Fisher and Fromm. Ethan Fromm down deep, tries to backhand it in. It's deflected wide.
Fromm knocked that puck out of the air and just took it in himself. Drivas even got that initial rush into the zone right off the change. Nobody had picked him up from the bench.
Here is Drivas 3-on-2 with Bennick and Fromm. Oh, Bennick couldn't pull the trigger. Fromm does, though, and Sri Chandra makes the save. David Bennick had a little bit of space, just not able to pull that trigger on the snapshot, but following up was Ethan Fromm, and we'll get an offensive zone draw for the Spartans with 6:06 left in the second.
Number of good looks from the Spartans in this offensive zone. Passing has been pretty good. A lot of this has started from their back end, though, and I got to give another nod to Fisher. A lot of really good puck protection and pivoting in the defensive zone to create a little bit of that deception and exit the zone cleanly. A couple of stretch passes from the Spartans that have gotten Drivas into the zone, but mostly good possession all around.
DeLeon, Dunn, Copeland are your trio out there. This is DeLeon. Dunn stops to avoid the hit, gives the puck up. That's thrown back behind the net where Koenig will get hit by Max Copeland. Copeland out to DeLeon. DeLeon, a bad angle. Oh, almost put that in short side. No space for Jaden DeLeon, and he almost beat Sri Chandra on that near side.
He almost catch the goaltender cheating a little bit, but Sri Chandra was right there along that post. Great idea, though, from the Spartans.
Puck caught up in the feet of the official, the linesman. Copeland in the corner gets double teamed. Now gets some help from Dunn, but it's dug out by Koenig. Thrown around far side. Fisher keeps, puts it in on goal. Forces Sri Chandra to make the right pad save. Another shot, this one from Reynolds at the near point, is sticked away by Benjamin Sri Chandra. Now behind the net. Off the glass, Fisher not able to keep, and he deflected it. So we're going to have a race for the puck now, and Cohn will get there first. Cohen out in front, and oof, getting a stick on it was Kulikov. Otherwise, that was going to be dangerous.
The Spartans' defense there had been out for the previous defensive shift and that entire time that the Glenbrook North side was pressuring in the offensive zone. So a couple of tired skaters, look out.
Now here comes Cohn in all alone, and he scores. Jaden DeLeon tried to clear the puck in. It deflected back at him, and Sierra Cohn makes it 2-1.
That's just a tough situation there for Glenbrook North, and I think you definitely needed to change up your defensive pairing, but what happens is you have that great offensive push, and you're taking that chance of keeping that line out there because they can create some offense from the blue line for you, but they're getting caught defensively with tired legs, and it may have been a coaching mishap or just the period of the long change here. You're not able to get your defensive line off, and a couple of tough rushes from Loyola.
Well, Victor's given up a couple of goals today, and you can't really blame him for either. One was a deflection. The other one was a breakaway on a mishap on a clear. Now side check out of a cannon will be the first one on it. Magnuson out in front. Sack was on the back door, but that pass didn't connect. Reynolds throws it in off the right shoulder, and Magnuson starting to throw his weight around a little bit. That's what he does. And so far, there hasn't been a lot of contact, not an incredibly physical game. We haven't had a penalty called yet. I'd like to see maybe GBN start to toss that weight around here a little bit, get a little physical over the next 21 or so minutes.
Saw a lot more physicality in that first period, maybe 1 or 2 big hits, as you saw right there. But look out.
Yep, GBN getting caught as that shot's off the blocker of Kulikov by Gregory Nelson. GBN getting caught in a change. Swept opposite corner. That's deflected in by Messina, goes wide. Now Nelson behind the net. Gregory Nelson back to the point, but there's nobody there. We'll come out with 3:38 left.
Gregory Nelson was trying to retrieve his stick along the boards in that near corner on this far side, and that allowed GBN to clear that puck because it took him an extra second as the pass came to him. But Loyola still pressuring quite a bit in that offensive zone. The Spartans are going to have to turn the tables here in a moment.
Spartans down for a second time today. They were down 1-0, tied it at 1. Christian Magnuson, his first goal of the playoffs. Fromm out there with Dudalevs and Bennick. Fromm has his stick lifted, and that lets Andrew Nelson play the puck back to the point. Andrews does a nice job keeping it in. The bouncing puck, ooh, that puck just deadened in the paint. Fisher keeps top of the near circle. Fisher now in between the dots. Fisher, his shot will deflect high up into the rafters.
You hear a lot of that cliche hockey answer about we have to have 4 lines rolling, and what you're seeing a lot here from this Spartans team is, yes, it's Fisher and Andrews out on the defense right now, and you're maybe looking for some offense from them, but this is the Fromm line that we haven't seen get too many offensive zone rushes or options, so interesting to see what their game plan is, if it's just to get pucks deep, put the pressure on, or if it's, of course, you want to score a goal as always.
It's played with a high stick by Bennick, so Loyola will make the exits. Koenig, far circle, backhands it off the side of the net. Bennick sweeps it around. Ethan Fromm will pick it up there. Nice move by Ethan to get free. He'll hit Bennick. Bennick into the attacking zone, overskates it. Fromm has it. Stick checked in the corner, and Ethan's not able to get a clean shot. That'll come out. We'll have a race for the puck. Andrews after it with Koenig. Brady will get there first. Pushes it to center with 2.5 left. Dwyer finds Hoffman. Hoffman drop pass to O'Donovan. It's knocked away. Hoffman again. Nice block there by Andrews, sliding to get in front of that pass. And it's kept in by Loyola. De Leon, stick handling out. Jaden to Dudalevs. Dudalevs gets around the hit. And he'll push it to the near side, but nobody there but the Ramblers. It's chipped into the Loyola bench with 1:47 left in the second. Still 2-1 Loyola. Win today for the Ramblers, and there will be a game 3. If GBN comes from behind, they'll take on York for the AHL championship.
We'll see this De Leon line back out here again, and as I was saying before, every line has a different role, but all have the same end goal, and that's, of course, to score, and got just over 100 seconds to do so here if you want to even things up before the third.
Well, this is the line that this is the big line that can do it. De Leon, Copeland, and Dunn had 47 goals between the 3 of them this year. Averaged almost 2 goals a game did this line. Quickly to De Leon to Dunn. Dunn tries the return pass, bounces over Jaden's stick. That's cleared up, kept in by Reynolds. Should be a hand pass, it will be. Wasn't really a hand. I mean, Reynolds just stuck his hand out. It bounced off his hand, and because you're in the offensive zone, that goes in the books as a hand pass.
Right, yeah, it hit off the glove, and that'll still get called, but Down to 1:15 to go here in the second period. We saw the from line right after the goal was scored, and now we're back with the De Leon line. So maybe save some legs so that you could get a push with this line later on.
Reynolds will clear it in, then he'll squirt back into the paint, and Shuchanja tries to play it with his stick. He doesn't. Copeland throws it towards the goal. That bounces off the stick of Dunn. Fisher up the wall. Taken there by De Leon. Jaden to Dunn. Dunn gets bumped off the puck. Dunn tries to flip it to himself. Reeder cuts him off in the corner. Up the wall, kept in though by Fisher. That deflects over to the near side. Copeland. Dunn keeps it in at the point. Dunn had all sorts of time. If he had turned and looked, he could have skated up the near wall. And instead, he tried to play the puck up the near wall, and it's iced by Loyola with 30 seconds left in the period.
Dunn's teammate Copeland was still recovering from the collision and not able to get back to the boards to receive that pass. But as you said, Dunn could have walked the line maybe a little bit there and taken a shot for himself. But the Spartans will still be in the offensive zone during this during this face-off. So
yeah, we haven't had a power play yet. Haven't had a penalty called in this game yet.
Right. So we'll see if that changes as we go, but 30 seconds to go in this second period. GBN trailing a goal.
Sachs, side check, Magnuson are your forwards out there with Fisher and Reynolds on the back line. That's going to be cleared out, and we're going to have another icing called on Loyola with 16 and a half seconds left. I think, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, I think this will be our last GBN game of the year. It's been a lot of fun. Had a good time. We've done a handful of both varsity gold and varsity green games, and looking forward, as I said earlier, looking forward to next year. Sychek tries to skate forward and can't, loses the puck to Cone. Cone will chip it into the opposite corner with 7 seconds left. That's good defense by GBN. Up the wall, the slap shot through, the deflection. And as the horn sounds, that puck was sitting on the right pad of Victor Kulikov, and somehow it stayed out of the nets as the second period ends.
Really nice save from Kulikov. You hear the Loyola fans cheering, but it's the Spartans that had a great defensive effort right there at the buzzer.
We'll go to the third period. GBN down 2-1. Third period action here from Northbrook Sports Center. Game 2 of the best of 3, GBN and Loyola. I'm Aaron Schellen. My broadcast partner is Mike Napolitano. And a win today by GBN would send them to the AHL Championship on Monday against York out in Addison. A Loyola win today would mean there is a Game 3 at Heartland Ice Arena on Thursday evening. We've got 17 minutes to go. The Scouts are down, or excuse me, I'm allowed one of those. I'm allowed
Spartans.
one of those
Yep.
per game. The Spartans are down 2-1.
Yeah, I'd say the keys to this third period are winning a couple of board battles in the offensive zone and getting that offensive zone time, but also you got to bring a little bit more of the physicality that the Ramblers have brought throughout that second period.
See if that top line can finally get on track here as Magnuson fires a hard wrist shot off the blocker of Srichandra. You'd love to see that top line of Dunn, De Leon, and Copeland get on track here in the third period, too. They've been gummed up most of the evening. Skating it wide's Hoffman. He gets hit hard by Fisher. Now side check, and we're starting to see some of that physicality right on this first shift. Mike, is GBN starting to exert their weights a little bit as Fisher will turn his nets. He'll find side check. Noah cross ice to Magnuson. Magnuson near wing fires the shot, and Christian Magnuson probably been the best offensive threat. Obviously scored the only goal for GBN, but he's had a couple of really good opportunities aside from that here this evening.
Almost deja vu there with the pass from side check to Magnuson. Kind of looked like that first goal. The only difference is not a breakaway this time, but still a grade A chance for the Spartans to see if they can get a little bit more of this with this new offensive line out there now.
De Leon keeps it in at the near points for the first attempt. Second attempt is cleared out. Copeland will throw it right back in. Ooh, that's dangerous out in front. Dwyer goes into the corner with it. That'll come to the neutral zone where Andrews chips it up to Copeland. Copeland gets bumped by Gregory Nelson and knocked down. Fired around the near side. That'll come all the way out. And on this fresh sheet of ice, oh, no icing. They're saying that was deflected by somebody. Oh, that puck off the back of the net. Andrews over to Reynolds. Back behind the net. Reynolds will have to go get it. Waits for the hits. Gets some help from Jaden De Leon, who will start up center ice. That's into the feet of Dunn. Now Dwyer up the far wall, kept in by De Leon, far point. Jaden gets it back, circle. Shot off the blocker of Srichandra. Good opportunity there, a little give and go.
We've seen a couple of shots from De Leon like that have come up high on Srichandra on the blocker side, and just really nothing upstairs, especially because you're kind of shooting towards the chest rather than the corners, but good looks nonetheless for the regular season leading scorer of the Spartans.
14:44, so a couple minutes gone by here in the third period. Jaden De Leon, 27 goals in 26 regular season games. He's been held off the scoreboard in the postseason. Has just one assist now in 3+ games.
He won that face-off forward and got a clean streak towards the net, just in too tight.
Cleared into the corner. Koenig throws it into the crease, and Kulikov makes the glove save, and then Fisher comes back to help him out. Fisher tries to find the aerial pass to Dunn. That doesn't work, and it'll be an icing on the Spartans. Face-off will come to the right of Victor, down to our left. Shots are 17-13 in favor of GBN. Hey, look at this guy to our left. He's wearing a bright gold shirt.
I like it. He's
I love it.
The black
Black vest with
and the gold popping out underneath.
Yeah, I love it. Not like gold, it's like shiny gold. I love that.
You can tell who he's rooting for.
Absolutely.
I guess a third key to this third period for the Spartans team is making sure that those stretch passes that they're trying for, look out, that one deflects.
Deflects just wide of the near post.
I'd say those stretch passes from their D have to find somebody in the neutral zone so that you limit the amount of icings you're taking.
Side check. Not able to get up the wall with the puck. Fisher clears it in, but Magnuson has to touch up. Side check along the far wall, keeps it in over there. Loyola will take it, though. Magnuson bumping into Koenig behind the net. Now side check tries to undercut Quinn Reynolds and get to the puck. Magnuson has it behind the net. He'll go back to the point. Andrews flips it into the near corner. Out in front, Magnuson, sack right on the doorstep. Couldn't bang it home, but again, Christian Magnuson, probably been the best offensive player here tonight for GBN, and we're going to get, I think, our first penalty called here, and that's going to be on Loyola for an interference. So the Spartans will go on the power play, and it's that line. This has been the best line tonight for the Spartans. You got Matthew Sack and out there with Noah Sychek and Christian Magnuson. That's been the best line for GBN here this evening, and they'll throw out their top line here on the power play. It'll be Copeland, Dunn, and De Leon with Reynolds and Fisher.
A huge opportunity to get level here. We'll see if they can get set up. We haven't seen a whole lot of setup plays from the Spartans in the offensive zone.
Fisher, far point.
Something's loose on that. That might be the butt end of the defenseman's stick as that offensive stick lift knocked something free.
Dunn, now De Leon near circle, back to the point, Fisher. Fisher tries to throw it down to De Leon, hits the top of the glass. Back to Fisher near point. Gets around the defense, whiffs on the shot, has it taken away and flipped out. So good possession, but absolutely nothing going towards the net for GBN. We'll see how attack number 2 transpires as Dunn will leave, or excuse me, De Leon will leave it for Dunn. Dunn gets around the first hit, takes a slash, feeds Copeland, who drops it for Reynolds. Reynolds through some traffic into Dunn. Dunn backhands it in on goal. Now Dunn along the far half. He'll spin onto his forehand. Dunn now back to De Leon near point. De Leon to Dunn. Dunn, Fisher, far circle. Fisher's pass is deflected up into the air and cleared out.
Spartans are just not moving this puck fast enough to get a lane opened up towards the net.
Trying to catch Loyola in a change. The shot by Copeland, the save made by Srichandra. Yeah, great possession. They've had the puck in the offensive zone for about a minute 30 of this minute and 40 seconds so far, but absolutely nothing going towards the net. It's just been D to D passing, point to point, up the wall, but nothing going towards the goal, nothing behind the net.
And Loyola's going to be comfortable with that because, you know, if you have the possession, all you're going to end up doing is wearing yourself down, trying to open up that lane. If Loyola's playing comfortably, keeping you on the perimeter, it's not doing too much to their penalty kill.
Zach Magnuson, Sychek, Andrews, and Fisher now. Sychek back along the near half wall. He'll dump it deep for Magnuson. That's thrown around, and Andrews not able to keep it in. 20 seconds left on the power play. Kulikov will stop it there, leaves it for Brady. Andrews stick checked, but Fisher right there to help his defensive pair out. Now Fisher up through center ice. Fisher with some speed. Fisher near circle. Fisher drags, and he scores! Brendan Fisher on the power play makes it 2-2. I guess you don't need to set up in the attacking zone. Just come down and rip it, Mike.
The defenseman up on the rush, and you see why he's leading the postseason in points for this Spartans team and just overall the entire AHL here. Boy, oh boy, what a shot. We saw him on the power play earlier, that sidestep move at the blue line, and then just didn't have the puck in a shooting position on the stick to release the trigger, and the puck goes the other way. He gets back out there towards the end of that power play and makes no mistake on the rush this time, shooting through the defenseman too, with the screen that Srichandra just wasn't able to see through.
That is his 4th goal of the postseason. He has been electric here in this AHL playoffs. It's up to O'Donovan, so we're square at 2 with 11 minutes left, and that's going to be an icing on Loyola. You know, we talk all the time about how a hot goalie can take you a long way in the postseason, and Victor Kulikov needs a new stick.
Oh, yikes.
You don't see that very often. His paddle snapped in half. Anyway,
I don't know if that got stuck in the boards.
As I was saying, you know, a hot goalie can take you a long way in the postseason, but Mike, sometimes you just need your best players to be your best players, right? And for the Spartans, that's that top line, but it's also Brendan Fisher. You just need your best players to perform at their best when the stakes are highest, and couldn't have asked for a higher stake right there than Brendan Fisher coming down with a couple of seconds left on the power play.
And if you're Loyola, you did everything you could to limit the opportunities on that power play. Like I said, they were keeping the Spartans to the perimeter, nothing much doing. And
Fromm turns, shoots, and scores! Ethan Fromm, I think that deflected up off of a Loyola skater, but either way, Ethan Fromm gives the Spartans a 3-2 lead.
Well, that just proves the point I was getting to. As I was saying, Loyola, they do a nice job on the penalty kill, and you still let one in. That's got to deflate your sails and swing the momentum elsewhere. And sure enough, GBN takes no time and gets the go-ahead goal. They have their first lead of this game.
3-2, GBN with the lead. 2 quick goals here in the third period.
It just takes a second.
Dudalev's with a big hit. He'll play the puck behind the nets.
So a power play goal that evens things up, and then the go-ahead.
Ethan Fromm with just 3 goals in the regular season, but a huge one here in game 2, and I think we're going to have a penalty called on the Spartans.
Yeah, stick just, I think, got tied up. Might be a hooking call.
And there's the whistle. Well, 10:21 left to go in the third period.
Not ideal after you just get the momentum back and take the first lead of the game, but we'll get a chance to see what this Glenbrook North penalty kill looks like after we just saw the power play.
Yep, first time they've been shorthanded today.
We just had another swap of the goaltender stick for Kulikov.
Yeah, he didn't like the last one, apparently. I don't think I've ever seen a goalie snap his stick in half like that without it being, like, slashed.
I mean, I understand that that's much more weighted at the bottom there with the larger paddle, but yeah, usually you have a lot more contact to break one of those.
So we'll have a face-off to Victor's left. It'll be David Bennick in the penalty box.
Got side check and Andrews on the near side.
Sack and
I believe that's Fisher on the far side.
I think it is Fisher. It wouldn't surprise me if Fisher didn't leave the ice very much the rest of the way. Back to the near point, kept in there by Andrew Nelson. He'll walk the line, throws it high and wide. Back door was Botcher trying to tap it in, but it bounces over his stick. He has it below the goal line now. Back to the point, Nelson. Nelson, the one-timer attempt was healed by Hoffman. Botcher up the near wall. Nelson, far side. Back to Nelson. High slot. Kulikov with the glove save.
And this Ramblers power play is moving the puck along the top of the umbrella and then blue line much faster than the Spartans power play was. So you got to stay with them, get a stick in a lane or even step up into a lane to disrupt the puck movement.
32 seconds gone on this power play. The Spartans with a couple of third period goals. Brendan Fisher, Ethan Fromm. I believe that goal is going to go to Ethan. I think it technically deflected off of a Rambler skater into the net.
Yeah,
but
I believe so.
I think Ethan will get credit for it. Now up the far wall, cross ice pass, William Harris. Goes past him, and Fisher will be the first one on it. He'll throw it along the near side, and that bounces over the stick of Andrew Nelson, goes to center ice. He'll have to go back and get it. Copeland on the forecheck.
3 Ramblers along that half wall, and it came by all of them back out into the neutral zone.
9:14 left. Fromm trying to bother Andrew Nelson. Nelson gets into the offensive zone. The shot thrown wide. Now Harris back to the point. Botcher's shot right into the breadbasket of Victor Kulikov.
Kulikov's done a nice job tracking pucks even through a lot of traffic in front, not just on this power play, but throughout this entire game. And there's been a little bit of an added pressure because of the man advantage here, and he still stood tall.
Yeah, really impressive game by Viktor Kulikov. He's given up the 2, but again, one was off the skate of one of his own players, and then the other was a breakaway goal. If he's been able to set up and he can see the puck, he's been rock solid again here today. Cleared up the wall. Sack tries to backhand it out, and that's going to be a hand pass. Yep. Same thing we saw in the last period where it wasn't really a pass. It was knocked down with the hand of the skater at the point, but when the next touch is a teammate, if you're in the offensive zone, that goes in the books as a hand pass. So neutral zone faceoff, 33 seconds left on the power play. Win today for GBN, and they will go on to face York on Monday night in the AHL Championship. Andrews not able to get a lot on that backhand, so it's kept in. He'll get it back now on the forehand. And this one he'll just throw out of play.
We talked about that short glass on the far side that almost drills ahead as GBN was trying to clear it. But right off of that face-off, you see Fisher was setting up defensively as the defenseman that he is, but he noticed that it was probably going to come to the winger right off the draw. So he steps up to be that winger on the Spartan side of things, and then immediately recognizes the tie-up, but he gets hooked. Stick in the midsection underneath his armpit, no call.
Yeah, fortunately, this isn't NHL rules, or GBN would be 2 skaters down right now. Throw that puck out of play from your own zone.
Yeah, delay of game.
Yep. Side check. Bangs it around the wall. Kept in over there, though, by Schoonyoung. Fisher gets it up to Sack. Sack skates it out, gets knocked down from behind. Now side check, one-on-one. Side check onto the forehand. The right pad save. Sack with the backhand forces Srichandra to make the blocker save. Couple of good shorthanded opportunities by Sack and side check. Power play is up. A long outlet pass to O'Donovan. O'Donovan across to Nelson. Nelson, his shot sticked away with the new paddle of Viktor Kulikov. So that one works.
Yes.
Fisher feathers it to Magnuson. Christian Magnuson. Not able to play it. Near wall. Out to Harris, 3-on-1 potential. That pass too far out in front of Winslow. Fortunate break for GBN as that's going to be an icing, but you'll take that when that was a close to a 3-on-1 for the Ramblers.
Despite killing that power play, Loyola has still had the pressure coming down into the offensive zone. So yeah, you'll take that icing right there, but great kill on the GBN side of things, and they seem to be pressuring. You saw that rush shorthanded and Sack. A nice little chip play, and got a really good shot off despite the defenseman still staying with him and being in front of him throughout the entire play.
The speed that Noah Seichek has allows him to do so much. You know, you look up and all of a sudden you're 2 strides ahead of the defender that you were just even with, and it doesn't take a whole lot of space to get the shot off. The deflection, right pad save made by Kulikov.
That went off of Andrews again, I believe.
Yeah, Brady's got to figure out how to deflect that puck away from the goalie.
Either take the entire puck
or get out of the way.
Let your goaltender see.
Brady will throw it around to Dunn. Dunn up the wall, kept in there, thrown in. Kulikov will make the save. It pops out of his glove, and then he'll cover up with 7:13 left.
Still a little time here on the clock, but if you're Loyola, you're starting to think, okay, we've had 2 leads in this game. As I was saying earlier, it only took 1 second for Fisher to change the momentum, and then even just a few seconds after that, the Spartans get their first lead of the game. So Loyola, with their backs against the wall, are going to have to change things up a little bit here if they want to get back into this one.
De Leon up the near wall. Dunn has it here. Dunn, Copeland to his left. Copeland back to the near point, and Reynolds will get there first. It's knocked away from him by Botcher. Reynolds and Botcher will go after it. Botcher takes the puck, tries to turn the net. Cross ice pass. Winslow backhands it onto the stick of Reynolds and not able to take it out. Andrews will go get it over by the far half wall. He'll use the glass. Nice keep over there by Botcher, though. Good job by Reynolds to lift the stick. Reynolds puts it into the body of a Loyola defender. De Leon not able to play it forward, but Loyola's offside, so the Spartans have a second to catch their breath. That pass underneath the stick of Copeland, and that will be an icing. And I think if you're GBN and you can hold on here, I mean, you win this game without getting really anything offensively from that top line. You got to feel really, really good about going into that championship game against York because, I mean, you can't keep that line down forever, right? I mean, I mentioned that line scored 47 goals in 26 games this year. Can't keep them down forever, and they've had a quiet AHL playoff so far. No better time to bust out than a championship game. Reynolds in the corner, backhands it around Magnuson. Christian got the goal scoring started for GBN today, and side check gets there first, but it'll be icing.
That's another unfortunate icing. I mean, GBN is comfortable taking that right now, but you kind of had the Ramblers on their toes. They were playing a little bit of, or on their heels, however you want to fit the expression, but they were kind of playing a little bit of that dump and chase game or just poke it and keep it into the offensive zone. They didn't quite have that pressure, but Loyola just kind of trying to live to fight another day, which is interesting with time ticking off this clock and them down by 1 goal.
And I'm curious how this last 6:05 is going to go, but we really have only seen 2 forward lines for GBN over the last 3 or 4 minutes. It's been the top line, and then it's been this one, side check, Magnuson, and Sack ever since Ethan Fromm made it 3-2. It's really been 2 offensive lines here for the Spartans.
And that goes back to my point, because if you're the Loyola Ramblers right now, it's kind of like you're just dumping pucks in to try to wear these lines down. But if these are just the 2 lines.
Sack takes it away, has it in the corner, throws it out in front. Wow. Magnuson.
If these are just the 2 lines, then they're playing a game where they're comfortable playing with that top 6.
Mm-hmm. That's deflected the length of the ice, and icing's waved off.
Oh, wow.
That puck was deflected by Loyola. We got a hit from behind as Reynolds pushes over Orlando onto a pile of players, but linesman missed that one. That puck was deflected by Loyola back by their own blue line. They said it was deflected by GBN.
We're getting a penalty, I believe, called here, and I think it's on Loyola. Yeah, it's...
Yep, that's going to be Orlando.
Yeah, headed to the box, and I'm not sure what that call was.
He might be going for unsportsmanlike. He might be going for yeah. It's a 5-on-5. So he said something to the official because he was the one who got knocked down from behind by Reynolds onto that pile. Yeah. I think he said something to the linesman, so he got an unsportsmanlike for that one. So he's going to be in the box for 10.
Fisher was at the bottom of that pile and went into the boards a little awkwardly. Good to see that he's up and okay, but we talked about the lines wearing down. I mean, in that second period, the second goal for Loyola was because they got caught out there a little too late and some tired legs, but we haven't really seen that right now. So if you're the Ramblers, A, you don't want to take a penalty like that because you're kind of getting worn down, and B, you're not really wearing the Spartans team down if they're just staying with those top 2 lines. You got to try to change something up.
So Orlando was the one who got pushed onto the pile by Reynolds, and he wanted a penalty on a hit from behind, which, I mean, an argument could be made that Jack Reynolds did indeed hit from behind, but Orlando said something, and that something sent him to the box for 10. So it is 5 to a side, as it's just an unsportsmanlike conduct. Side check going through Reeder. And Loyola will take it behind their own nets. Schoonyoung up the wall. The home run pass connects to Nelson. Oh, what a big hit by Dudalevs, and what a save made by Kulikov. And then the secondary shot goes wide. Lot to unpack there.
Yeah, Loyola still got a good opportunity after the initial hit and shot on the rebound.
Yeah, that was a wicked hit by Sander Dudalevs. Another hit there. Magnuson dropping Aiden Reeder. And that puck comes out to center ice. Reeder gets a little bit of revenge on Magnuson as he knocks down Christian.
He took a note on that one.
Yep, this has been a great game for Christian Magnuson. He was the best offensive player when GBN needed some offense. Fisher, Dudalevs tips it to the blue line. This is the first time this line has been out there since Ethan Fromm scored the go-ahead goal. Now Botcher back up the wall, kept in there, thrown opposite corner. Near circle. Dump deep. Fromm has it on his forehand. He'll turn up ice. Finds Dudalevs. Dudalevs to Bennick. David Bennick rolls it forward, but nobody home. Ethan Fromm will collect it along center ice, and that hits something up there. Yeah. So we'll have his face-off with 3:42 left.
Well, we've seen the Ramblers just kind of dumping and chasing, and the Spartans have done a really nice job of either pinning pucks against the boards or getting the pucks first. And I talked about those stretch passes from the defensive zone that needed to be better from GBN. Instead, they're looking to break out with the puck a lot more, and hey, that works too, and it's been much cleaner here in this third period.
And not for nothing, but with the penalty boxes on the other side of the rink, away from the stands and the benches, it's got to be really lonely over there.
I bet. And
I'm looking over there at Connor Orlando, and he looks lonely.
And if you're Connor Orlando, you're sitting for 10 minutes here, and there weren't even 10 minutes on the clock, so if your team is still trailing by the time that clock hits 0, that's a tough way to end your season.
Yep. Kept in there from, will turn, and is able to feather it to center. Right at the blue line. Kept in by Loyola. Dumped deep. And Luciota has it knocked away from him. The centering feed! And I don't know if that went, I think that may have gone wide. I don't know that that was in on goal. I think that hit Ciota to the near side.
I think you're right.
But those aren't opportunities you want to give up here, up by a goal with under 3 minutes left. Andrews, that puck, that's out. Oh, that was offsides.
Yeah, I believe
they
that came
missed that
clear
one
over the blue.
Oh yeah, they missed that one. We are basically right on the blue line, and there was absolutely white ice between the blue line and that puck, but it didn't hurt GBN there. Fisher will take it back in his own zone. Fire it off the glass and back to the red line. Spartans hemmed in here a little, down to 2:20 left. Andrews off the glass, Dunn into his skates. He'll work it to center. That one's cleared out over to the Loyola blue line, but the Ramblers right back on the counterattack. Copeland, nice tip ahead to Dunn. Dunn has got Copeland and De Leon. The pass behind Max. Copeland now in the corner. Low behind the net. You hear somebody in front of us yell, "Keep it low," and that is exactly what you want to be doing here. Out in front, Dunn backhands it through, and that's behind the net. Dunn now on his backhand. Below the goal line, throws it out in front. Copeland not able to collect that. And now Loyola will take it with 1.5 minutes left. Forward for Koenig. Koenig dumps. We'll keep an eye on Sri Chandra as there's 1.5 minutes left.
He's out in front of the blue paint.
Yep, waiting for that signal. De Leon feathers it forward. Dunn will flip it out, and icing is waved off. Down to 1:10 left. Near side, Andrew Nelson. Oh, that puck gets through,
wow.
And that was dangerous. But Brady Andrews, Johnny on the spot. That's an icing, but that's not a bad icing to take. And we're going to get a timeout called by Loyola with 58.9 seconds left. Mike and I are going to take it with them. Spartans a minute away from the title game. Taking a look at the GBN bench as they're a minute away from an upset. GBN came in as the 3 seed, Loyola as the 2. And the Spartans took game 1 4-1. They lead game 2 3-2. And this has been a gritty game by these Spartans. Down 1-0, down 2-1. And they were able to bounce back both times. 2 third period goals here Brendan Fisher, Ethan Fromm.
Two quick goals that have really turned the tides in this game, and the Loyola Ramblers find themselves with a man in the box. It's still 5-on-5 hockey, but it really can affect your lines, especially late in this game when you're desperately trying to find a goal. But speaking of goal, we have an empty net, so it's going to be a 6-on-5 for Loyola.
It's cleared up, and that will come to center ice. Battle right in front of the GBN bench. Taking it here is Andrew Nelson. Nelson on the backhand. He'll drop it back to the point. Good play by Sychek to play it with his skates. Gets bumped up against the wall with 38 seconds left. Back to the point. The slap shot from the point, and the save is made by Viktor Kulikov.
Kulikov was thinking of playing that. He dropped the glove down immediately, and that puck hit the ice, but the whistle had already gone.
I think fortunate for him. That's usually not a puck that you want to drop on the ice right there.
He did have his defense back, but yeah, you might just want to take the face off and see if we could get a clean clear here.
Matthew Sack will take the face off against Danny O'Donovan. Draws one by Sack cleanly. That's scaled around, and that'll come out to center ice. Down to 24 seconds. Andrew Nelson now across the red line. He'll dump it, throw it opposite corner. Fisher not able to get over there. Back to the point. Sack feathers it out to center. Now a race for the puck here. Sychek. Sychek has the puck. Sychek tucks it home, and GBN takes a 4-2 lead, and the Spartans are going to go on to play for the AHL Championship against York on Monday.
Sychek's had a great game here today, and he gets rewarded with the empty netter right at the end there. And the Spartans, who have trailed twice in this game, as we mentioned, those two quick goals, and they put this game away, or basically put this game away with 6.9 seconds to go with the empty netter. A sweep for GBN over the number 2 seed Ramblers.
Sychek skates the puck in, and the Glenbrook North Spartans, the 3 seed, take down the Loyola Ramblers in a 2-game sweep. They win 4-1. They win 4-2 tonight. Brendan Fisher with a goal. Ethan Fromm with a goal. Christian Magnuson with a goal. Noah Sychek with the empty netter. And GBN wins it 4-2, and the Spartans will go on to take on the top seed York on Monday night. So that's a good way to end our GBN season here, right? With a 4-2 victory, a game that Spartans offensively looked a little choppy in that first period.
A little sluggish even through
the
second.
in that first, but they definitely picked it up in period 2. And then in period 3, those 2 quick goals. Brendan Fisher, the AHL's leading scorer here in the postseason, with a pretty individual effort on a power play that really didn't have anything going at all for GBN.
Right.
Individual effort tied the score, and then that gritty goal by Ethan Fromm, throwing it towards the net, up over the shoulder of Srichanja, up into the back of the net, giving GBN the lead. They held on. They played solid defense in front of Viktor Kulikov, who now has given up 2 goals in 4 consecutive games. Goals against average of 2. GBN plays for the title on Monday night.
Lot to break down there, but you said it perfectly. And boy, this Spartans team does not quit. So interested to see what they do in the championship. If they're trailing, they're never out of it. So hopefully they take that same mindset into a big championship against York.
Yep. 1 game to decide it all. That'll be against York on Monday night. So for the last time, he's Mike Napolitano. The last time this year.
Yes.
For GBN Hockey, he's Mike Napolitano. I'm Aaron Schellen. Spartans win 4-2. Mike and I will talk to you sometime later in 2026 for more GBN Hockey. Have a great rest of your night, and go Spartans.